All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Hakudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing His word in truth, sincerity. All right, this is the brother Tawab Bakah from GMS Los Angeles, coming back with another video in the spirit. And once again, Tawadi Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, for opening my eyes to this truth. Allow me to wake up another day and putting the spirit on me to do another lesson in hopes to edify the hopeful elect. Okay, so in this video, what I want to go into is a statement a brother made a while back, beloved brother in our camp, the brother Yakal. And he had mentioned that he had watched this video of this woman explaining the cleaning of silver. You know how silver has to be put in the fire and for it to be cleansed. And once the the silver is put through the fire, you know, it goes into the refining stage where the silver is made clean, and clean to the point where you're able to see, she was able to see her reflection in the silver. And it's spiritual because that's what the Lord is doing with us spiritually, us being in this truth, going through our adversities, going through our trials, tribulations, and especially the trials that's ahead. Jacob's trouble, because things are about to get turned up. The Lord's going to turn that fire up, and, Lord willing, we be that gold and that silver and not that wood and stubble, because things that are wood and stubble, they're going to be burnt up. But the things, the pure, the gold, the silver, that's going to be purified, and that's the elect. Okay, so these trials that we go through, this is the mindset we gotta have is that the Lord He's purifying us, so He can see His image in us, see His reflection in us, and that's the and by the Lord putting us through these trials, He's separating us out of this world. There's a reason why we go through certain things. That's the Lord. Basically, He's saying He's getting rid of those impurities. He's fashioning us in the way He wants us to be fashioned. Okay, He's forging us the way He wants us to be forged. And some when metal is taken and beaten, it's beaten into a form, whether it's a sword or whatever utensil or tool man wants to use it for. So that's what the Lord is doing with us spiritually. You brothers that's new to the faith, you may be experiencing those trials, that fire, whether it be through your family, your immediate intermediate family, your job, okay, or you may be dealing with infirmities, wherever the case may be. Okay, that this is referred to as the furnace of adversity. And like I said, the real adversity is coming, is right around the corner. The MOTB, martial law, all these cities are going to be cut off. So what, us doing these videos, going out to the highways and byways, this is us preparing for that, for those times. We're building our treasures up in heaven and hoping that the Lord will, have mercy on us and remember us in these times that's coming, So with all that being said, I'm gonna get right into it, and I pray this is edifying to you, sincere brothers, as well as you few sisters. So this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 2. This is in the Apocrypha. Okay, Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 1. All right, it says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble." Okay, see, so it says prepare our souls for temptations coming to serve the Lord. So the Lord is going to try us. We're going to be tested. And this is an everyday thing. We're going to be tested. You know, tests come with small, and great. You know, our faith is constantly being tried. Okay, whether we trust in the words of the Lord or not. Okay, it's constantly being put on to the test. You know, that's why it's very important, you know, to have patience. You know, and not make, like it says, make haste in the time of trouble. Make not haste in the time of trouble, because, you know, all these things that happen to us are but for a moment. You know, and like I said, you know, going back to that video that brother had brought up with the woman, that fire, that heat, that uncomfortability that we feel is a necessary thing, you know, for us to go through in order for us to be acceptable in the sight of the Lord. Okay, and the Lord puts us through these things to make us realize, you know, what's more important. You know, that's why there's times where the Lord strips things away from us. You know, the Lord takes certain opportunities away from us. You know, when I say opportunity, I mean carnal, dealing with the carnal. Okay? But see, the Lord is beautiful. He'll bless at the same time. You know, but the Lord wants to see where your mind is at. He want to see where your heart is at, man. You know, if he takes something away from you, are you going to deny him? Okay, if he puts you through adversity, okay, he puts you through straits, are you going to deny him? Are you going to turn your back? If the Lord put you in that fire, put you in some crucial situations for a hot second, are you going to deny him? You know, the Lord wants to see, because before we get to that big test, the Lord wants to see how we're going to handle the small things. You know, because if we have a fucked up mentality when it comes to minor things, you know, already throwing in the towel over some minute shit, how much more with the greater things? You know, we're not going to be able to stand with the greater things if we can't handle the small things. You know, so that's why the Lord puts us through these trials. Okay, it says, third verse, it says, "Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end." You see, so we supposed to cleave unto him through this word. Okay, when we go through these trials, okay, when we in our troubles, we supposed to cleave unto the Lord harder. We supposed to cleave unto this word. We supposed to be leaning upon the scriptures, you know, and also, you know, the brotherhood too. The brotherhood is here for that, but ultimately the scriptures, man, because this is what's going to keep us, you know, in the good graces with the Lord. You know, this is what's going to keep us from, you know, doing evil in the sight of the Lord. Okay. All right. It says, "Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state." Now, this sounds easier said than done. Okay, because like, you know, we're men in the flesh. Okay, we have emotions. We have things, you know, we have things that affect us, emotionally. You know, we have the way we feel about certain things, but at the end of the day, what's more important, our feelings or the will of the Lord, man? And it should always be the will of the Lord. The will of the Lord, the words of the scriptures overrides what we feel or how we think things should be, because the Spirit is always going to move how the Spirit is going to move, regardless of what a man says. Okay, and see, the Lord put the Spirit on our apostles, elders, on down to lay out that blueprint. They set forth that example for how we should be. How we should teach this word, how we should be among one another, how we should treat one another. Okay, having a high standard, man, not taking this thing for granted. This ain't no gimmick. This ain't no entertainment. We're not doing this thing for popularity. We're doing this out of the truth and sincerity. And what comes with that is going to come adversity. Going out there teaching the word. Yeah, on Saturday, teaching this word. It's so powerful. It's beautiful. But then, once camp is over, you got to go back home. And you got to go back, to the your daily routine. You got to go back and deal with these individuals in the world. Where's your job? You're dealing with your family. Okay. And we gotta be, we gotta be able to, endure whatever it is that's in our path to endure, man. Every brother's situation is different, but that's every brother's burden to carry, cross to carry. Matter of fact, because the Lord, there's a scripture, because this is the reason why we have the names of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai to pray. It's because when things get too heavy, we supposed to lean upon the Lord, man. Or this is Psalms chapter 55, verse 22. It says, "Cast thy burden upon the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved." You see? So sometimes things can get heavy. A lot of things could be weighing on your mind. You could have a heavy heart. You could be dealing with a very tough situation. And you got a real heavy heart. But casting that burden, praying to the Lord, letting your grief be made known to the Lord will sustain us. Like I said, he'll never suffer the righteous to be moved. Okay, the Lord wants us to pray to him. He wants us to call upon him. We're his children. Okay, we're his sons. Especially those of us that have been blessed to receive the name, to know the name, had the access to the name, to call, to pray to. That's not a light thing. So of course the Lord wants us to pray to him. Of course the Lord wants us to call upon him. Okay? And let him know our grievance. The things that we're grieving about, the things that's heavy on our heart. But that's a part of being in this truth. Okay? There's no getting around that. All right, let me get back to Ecclesiastes 2:4. It says, "Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. You see that? Gold is tried in the fire. Acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So the Lord wants to see, is our faith of gold, or is our faith of wood and stubble? Because it's going to be shown in these times that's coming. It's really going to be shown. That's why it says, then it shall be known who are my chosen. Okay? Because, see, a lot of people that call themselves, they claim they believe in the Lord. It's easy to believe in the Lord when, you know, you got a refrigerator full of food. It's easy to believe in the Lord, you know, when you got a nice roof over your head, clothes on your back, okay? You got all these different comforts at your fingertips. It's easy to believe in the Lord then, you know, when you got your loved ones around you, you know. But the Lord's going to see, you know, he's going to test us, you know. Certain things are going to be not, you know, accessible like that in these times that's ahead. And the Lord's going to see, is that faith going to still be, is that faith going to still have a strong presence? Is faith going to be, is faith going to be mighty still? That faith going to be on that same energy as it is now? You know? And like you said, the Lord ain't going to put nothing on brothers that they can't handle. You know, but at the same time, the Lord is going to make us feel that pressure. You know, he going to make us bend, but, you know, Lord willing, if we are the elect, we're not going to break. Okay? It says, matter of fact, let me get this real quick. This is 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 6. It says, wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations, that the trial of your faith being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua HaMashiach. You see, so all these little trials that we're going through right now, you know, they're small compared to what's coming down the road. But even with those small trials, that is going to be found unto honor, you know, because when the kingdom is established, those that were redeemed, you know, especially those that are of the government body, okay, all the things that those individuals had to go through to receive that crown, to receive that you know, that position, they're going to be praised for that, you know. First and foremost, starting with our Lord Yahushua. Okay, it starts with Yahushua, and the rest and the elect. Okay, this is the mindset we gotta have. You know, it says or this back in Sirach chapter 2. Verse 5, it says, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall. Ye that fear the Lord, believe him, and your reward shall not fail. You see that? Now, I'm not going to read the whole. You know, you brothers, when y'all got time, y'all can read this whole chapter for yourself. But this is a beautiful chapter. The point I want to get across in this is that furnace of adversity, man. The Lord he's putting us through that furnace of adversity, you know, so he can see that reflection. Going back to that video that brother had mentioned, he wants to see that reflection in us. He wants to see his reflection in us. Okay? Because we gotta have the same mindset as our Lord Yahushua. We supposed to arm ourselves with that same mind as Yahushua. And Yahweh Shai's mentality was to do his father's business. Okay, Yahweh Shai took on the mindset of being a minister, a servant. That's what the word minister means. It means servant. Okay, and we're supposed to likewise have the same mind frame, man. Okay, and also to suffer. Okay, that we weren't brought into this thing to for everything to be all peaches and cream. Everything ain't gonna always be peaches and cream. We were brought into this thing to suffer. Okay, just like Yahweh Shai, he had to go through his suffering. We got to go through our suffering. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I just wanted to put that out there. I pray this is edifying to you sincere brothers, as well as you few sisters out there. Stay strong. Keep fighting. We almost out of here. So with that, I'm going to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, HaKodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing this word in truth, sincerity. Shalom.